Hello and welcome to another edition of the Portrait Profit Show. Thank you guys for being here today. I want to make sure that you guys are well aware this show is totally free, and that's because Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab have brought it to you to make that happen. So feel free to share, to be here and to share and to let other people know about this wonderful opportunity for a business class for free every single week on Monday at noon, except for the second Monday of every single month to accommodate those who can't make it for lunchtime. And that is on the second Monday, it's at 6:30 p.m. To accommodate those who can't be there. But for every other day, it's at noon on Monday. So thank you guys for being here. Let's see. I have a handful of people who are here. It looks like, oh, hi, Steve. Thank you for saying hi. I've got someone else who's telling me that the broadcast isn't showing up. Oh, maybe it is just now showing up. Well, I'm glad that it is. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be sharing about about giving, about charities, and about how this can be beneficial to your business. But before we get into that, I want to say hi. My name is Jim, and my mission is simple. I help portrait photographers, just like you, make a great income. Each week, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography designed to help you gain a mastery over sales and marketing, reducing the struggles that most photographers face. That way you get exactly what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. Again, the Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. Good morning. Thank you, guys. I want to encourage you to do what you're seeing now down at the bottom of the screen. There's several of you that have said hello, and I appreciate you doing that. You'll notice that some have the name of the person who's saying hello, and some don't. Just click on the bottom of that link. You'll see that that we're using a product called StreamYard. If you click there and give them permission, they will do that for you too, where you can see your name and not just Facebook user. And so feel free to do that. And I want to encourage you, and I'll continue to encourage you throughout the show. Please post your comments, post your questions. And if you hear something you like or love, click the like, click the love. We like that. Miguel, how's it going? I'm glad you're here. Oh, wonderful. All right. So let's see. Where did I put that? I didn't put it there. That's where I put it. Today we're talking about win-win charity and your business. I think all photographers love giving back. I mean, we love people. We love helping. We love the excitement. We when we create something, we feel it inside of us. When we give someone something that we've done and they love it, oh, it feels so good. And eventually, you're going to get people. If you haven't gotten a ton already, you're going to get organizations, groups, causes, lots of different things. Will reach out to you and say, "Hey, we're having some type of fundraising event. Could be a silent auction, and they're asking you to help out." And you want to help. Now, if you don't, well, then you don't. But if you do, then you want to help. But how you help makes a big difference, because it can help or hurt your business. It needs to be part of your plan. Now, you guys know how much I appreciate having a plan, how I feel is extremely important to to your business, to be able to survive and not struggle, which most photographers do. We struggle. Not because we're not good photographers. Normally it's because we haven't planned very well. Maybe the short term, maybe we've got a mini session plan and we do pretty good on it. But long term, most of us could use a little help in that area. And one of the things you should include is giving. How do you want to do that? What's important to you? Now, for every person, that answer is different. Some of you want to give like crazy. But if you are giving all of your time away, then you have none for profit. You guys know this. You got to be able to replace your equipment once it goes bad, right? Yeah. So it needs to be part of your plan. And I'm going to give you some ideas and thoughts about how I have done this over the years. We generally limit the number that we give to 12 charities per year. And that's normally in the form of silent auctions. It isn't always. Sometimes it's percentage of sales. There's all different kinds of things that you might do. And we're going to be talking about some of those today. Plus, I'm going to share with you some of the letters that I send out, the ones that I send out to those who I want to work with, the letter that I send out to those who have requested to work with us. And then also, once we are working with someone, what are the different things that we use to be able to connect with them? So I'm going to be sharing those things with you today. Now, I want you, Jeremiah, what up? Glad you're here, Jeremiah. And Pam, thank you for being here. Another Facebook user. Oh, I know this person really well. Isn't she cute? Hi, Robin. And Paula, how are you doing? I'm so glad you're here. Pam, oh, good. Perfect. Man, I'm glad you guys are here. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about what you're doing or what you have thought about when it comes to giving. Now, there's giving in the form of just helping someone out. It's not really an organization. It may be an individual. How do you feel about that? You probably get this request all the time for someone wanting to trade services with you. This might be awesome. This isn't really in the category of charity giving, but it is in the category of giving, or at least it can be. Maybe you feel for someone's situation and you want to give them something. Great. Plan it. Make sure you've defined it ahead of time. Add it to your policy manual. Now, I'm wondering, how many of you have a policy manual? Get a show of hands. I want to see in the comments, if you have a policy manual for your business, just say policy manual, or I have it. How many of you have a policy manual? And Paula, thank you for sharing that. Paula says that I give and volunteer to the Kendall County Women's Shelter. That's wonderful. There are a lot of good organizations out there, and this certainly is one of them. And so thank you for what you are doing, Paula. And so right now I'm seeing no one yet has said, I have a policy manual. You know, big companies, when you go work for someone, they have a policy manual. You've heard people say, that's not my policy, or that's not our policy, which kind of makes you upset when you hear that. And it looks like one of you has. Steve Rose, I have one. Steve, is that the one that we worked on just a couple of months ago? Is that it? I bet it is. So don't have one. Yeah, most photographers do not have their own policy manual. You need a policy manual. And one of the things that goes in your policy manual is your policy on giving. Now, this is including the times when someone just asks for something, asks for a discount. This could be family. Have you had a family member expect, or a friend expect you to give them something? Totally give or a percentage off. Have you experienced that? Now, some of us kind of like it when family asks us to do something. Some of us don't. Let me give you my philosophy on when family asks for something. At first, I'd be bothered if they didn't ask me. Now, I don't want them to. And the reason is because if, let's say it's an event, let's say it's a family event, a wedding, I don't want to be demoted from guest to service person. I don't want that demotion. I want to enjoy the event. I don't want to work it. But that wasn't how I started off. It started off, I wanted everybody to know what I was doing, and I wanted them to hire me. I wanted my family members to hire me. So I don't know when that changed. It took a while. It took that evolution did take a while, but after a while, I got to where I don't want to photograph family events. I want to be there. I want to experience the event as if I was not a hired hand. I want to be there. I want to be part of the group, not paid to be there. Courtney, you said you have a policy manual in your head. Good. I'd want you to write it down. So I'm not going to go there. But yeah, you've got a policy manual, and we all have somewhat of a policy manual in our head. I think we all do. Courtney, yours may be really strong, but I think others, it's hit or miss. It's goes with the ebb and the flow. It's like it's hot one day and it's cold another. The policy manual needs to be pretty strict. It needs to be pretty straightforward, written down. It's not necessarily something that you show to your clients. It could be, but it's really not. It's something that you have for yourself. And then when you hire additional employees, that they have an opportunity to read the policy manual so they know what to do and what to expect. Okay. Jeremiah, I once did a free 1-hour headshot session for veterans who needed updated headshots for LinkedIn profiles. Awesome. But it ended because the person organizing it took advantage. This is not unusual, and I bet you anything there's others that can say that there have been that feeling of being taken advantage of. Yeah, this can happen, and it especially happens when the policy is not written down, because it's something that we have to take ownership of, and you have to shut it down. Which sounds like exactly what you did here, Jeremiah, and that you had the situation. It probably was going well at first. You're probably excited about it. You probably had some other people who were excited about it, and then it just kind of took a turn. So yeah, that can happen, especially if we don't have written policies. Thank you for sharing that, Jeremiah. Let's see, Courtney. I'm not going to share that one, Courtney. That's funny though. So yeah, I believe in writing these policies down. Now, I'm not saying which way is right and which way is wrong. That's totally up to you. If you want to have something as a policy, something you believe in, then you include it, and you include the why that you have included it. Don't include just the policy without the why. At some point, you're going to look back at it and not remember why you chose to add it, and you'll adjust it. You'll make changes to it. And it won't necessarily be to your benefit. So when you write down a policy, also include why it's included in your policy manual. Again, this is just for you. It is something that I recommend that you review regularly. Now, how often is that? Maybe once every year, twice a year. Not something you do every single time something comes up. Whenever something comes up, maybe if it's small, then make a change immediately. But I'd say collect those and do it at one time and put it on your calendar. Actually schedule a policy review on your calendar, annual review, semi-annual review, whatever is right for you. I think it should be part of your calendar. I think you should plan it. Oh, I understand, Robin. Thank you for being here, though. Yeah, as long as you're here, you are welcome. And if you want to watch the replay, that's fine too. But thank you for being here. So, man, when it comes to the giving to charities, to organizations, to individuals, this is something that is solely you and what you believe in. Just write it down. So if you want to give to charities, I recommend that you have a total number, a maximum number that you're giving to, because you're going to get too many. You're going to get overwhelmed with it. And one of your goals is to have good relationships with these organizations that you're donating your time and your talent to. And if you have too many of them, you're watering yourself too thin. And that's in the relationship side of things. What about your photography profit side of things? If you're spending too much of your time with the giving back, with the sharing what you believe in and giving to these different organizations, then you don't have enough time for your profitable things. So this is part of the plan also. We have 12. Robin and I have 12 that we give to, and it does change. And it could be sometimes the first 12 that come to us, but it does change every single year. And we give it a name. This program is called Relationships, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a little while. But I believe that everything you're doing needs a name, just like everything you own needs a home. How many of you spend time looking for keys? Give your keys a home, and you'll never spend time looking for them. Same thing with your products. Even though this is an unpaid product, a charity, a gift, I still give it a name. It's called Relationships. And we've called it that for 20 years, probably. Now, let me show you something. Let me share my screen and make sure I have the right thing up. Okay. I'm going to show you a letter that we send out to to people who we want to work with, to organizations that we want to work with. I'm going to read this to you. And let's see, share my screen. There we go. All right. Our program is called Relationships. And that's what's up right there at the top. This is just a full size sheet of paper that I send. Not only do we believe in uplifting positive relationships for over 20 years, Relationships has been the name of our financial assistance program, sponsored by Jim and Robin Landers of Landers Photography. Our Relationships silent auction program provides a great fundraising tool for select schools, organizations, and charities to raise funds in a completely risk-free manner. Landers Photography provides valuable certificates to organizations who include them in their organization-sponsored silent auction event. The school or organization pays absolutely nothing for us for the certificates, but they do keep all of the proceeds, whatever they sell it for. They keep it. With the certificate, the winner of the silent auction will receive our full service 1, design consultation, 2, photography session, 3, portrait selection consultation, and 4, a free 5x7 fully retouched artist sample. Now, a fully retouched artist sample to me, now to someone else, maybe this means something different. But to me, it means I get to choose my favorite image. I'm going to pretty it up in the way that I do it, and I'm going to give it to them as a gift. This program is proven to be beneficial to all concerned and a successful risk-free fundraiser for hundreds of organizations in our community. Through our portraits, our goal is to tell the story of the family through their relationships, emotion, and interaction. Our goal is for our clients to cry tears of joy every time they see their beautiful portrait proudly displayed on the wall of their home. By the way, if you're not getting all of this, then watch the replay and you can get all of this. You can use these words however you want to. Obviously, you're going to want to tweak them to make them your own. These are things that I say that you might not say yourself, but you put in your own words if you want to do this. Again, this is a letter I send out to those who I want to work with, the charities that I want to donate to. This is the letter that I'm sending them. And I think that they're going to be asking a question. Well, this isn't normally how people do this. Usually we have to reach out to them in order for them to get something to happen. I like to be proactive. I like to reach out to the organizations that align best with my target market. For instance, if there is an organization who targets a certain area of town that I am not targeting, then I'm not going to be participating in that. Same thing as if, let's say, by the way, I target a 10-mile radius, just a 10-mile radius. So it's not like a good or bad area of town. It's just a 10-mile radius of the area of town that I'm in. So if someone's 20 miles away from me, I'm not participating in that because it's not within my target range. Give you an example, unrelated to this. And it was several years ago, someone reached out and said, we have extra space for, it was a movie theater for the ads that happened beforehand. We have extra space. We're going to give it to you for free. I mean, it was cheap. The amount they gave me was laughable. I think it was like $25. It was ridiculously cheap. I mean, I think they already had gotten someone to pay, and that person backed out, and it was already not refundable, and so they were just looking for someone to fill space. And so they reached out, and because I had done some work for this particular theater, and they said, we'll just give it to you practically. They had small charge, but I declined, and they couldn't understand. This is nearly free. Why would you be passing this up? And I said, because it's not in my target market area. I said, but it's free. I said, it doesn't matter the cost. I have a very specific target market. And so I want to target those who are in my target market. My goal is not to expand beyond. There's enough people there's 100,000 people in my 10-mile radius. You know what? If I can't do well with 100,000 people in my 10 mile radius, then the problem isn't photography. The problem isn't the clients. The problem is me. I don't need 1.5 million or 2 million people in the entire San Antonio area. I don't need that. I don't need the entire US. I don't need the entire, I need the 10-mile radius that's right here next to me. Besides, I don't have enough time or budget to go beyond that area. If I do, I thin myself out too much. I don't become known. So a question someone might ask, how can you afford to do this? We have enjoyed contributing to many schools and organizations in the area, and we've benefited from the new circle of friends that have come to us as a result. We will continue to support as long as we are financially able to do so. Our approach, it's very low key. We simply provide emotional portraiture, and many people respond to it by ordering additional prints. This is how we can afford back to give to the community in this way. Because this free thing that we're giving, this family portrait session for us, it can be whatever it is for you. Everybody pretty much bought more. And so I complete that letter with, if you're interested or have any questions about our relationships program, just reply to the email listed below, and we will send detailed information to you about how to receive and use the certificates. Thank you for your time and consideration. And I would sign right there. So that's what that looks like. Now I'm back to the screen, and and I can see that Jeremiah has made a couple of comments. And I definitely encourage you guys to make comments. Jeremiah says, that's a great point. Thank you, Jeremiah. Stealing this, I want you to. Yeah, I absolutely want you to steal this. This is something that is beneficial. It's something that uplifts photographers, and it uplifts the community. You get known for this kind of thing. Now, you don't want to get overly known. You just want to be known in your target market area. Those who are serving the people who you're targeting. And if they don't fit your description of your target market, the very first thing you need to do is describe your target market long before you've created a charity event or a charity policy, donation policy. Now, in my opinion, the very first thing you should do is define who you are. Who are you? What do you believe in? What do you want out of this life? Write it all down. Brainstorm it, and do not organize it yet, and do not analyze it yet. When you're doing this brainstorm of who you are and what you want out of life, do not enter money into the equation. Whatever you want. Do you want a yacht sitting over in the Caribbean and another one up in Seattle so you can go up to Alaska? Fine, 2 yachts. Actually, I haven't come across anyone who says that yet. But if that's what you want, then that's what you want out of this life. Write it down. Want a bigger house? A better area? Some land? A new car every few years? Write these things down. What's important to you? What do you think you'd like? What would make your life even better than it is? Write it all down. Now, once you've done that, organize it, analyze it. But then I want you to define who makes you happy, your target market. Who makes you happy? What kind of things do you enjoy doing, and who do you enjoy doing it for? You don't want to live the rest of your life going for whoever pays you. This isn't about the money. And you guys know that. You're passionate about photography. You want to make money, of course. There's a lot of things that you want that cost money. So, of course, we want to make money. But we need to define who it is we're working with so that they are constantly re-energizing us, keeping us focused, happy, thrilled to get up in the morning and work. Because if we get too many of those clients that drag us down, that's when we quit, or at least consider it. Yep, write it down. Once you've done that, then you can move over into who do you want to give to? Giving is important. It makes you feel good and it uplifts others. I highly recommend it. You wouldn't be here if you didn't agree. I like that, Jeremiah. Jeremiah says, I'd be okay with just one. Yeah. Yeah, just one. I mean, at least 200 feet, 6 staterooms, a whole level just to yourself. Oh, yeah. Enough crew for 20, enough crew living space for 20. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thank you for participating in that. All right, so what happens, though, if someone requests it from me? Let's say it's an organization that requests us to donate something to them. And so I'm going to share that with you next. Let's see, that one is, did I just share that one? Make sure I'm showing you the right one. Yes, okay. So this one. This is still the relationships program because this is our donation program. This is our financial assistance program to organizations in our community. You give it whatever name you want. Can't take relationships though. I mean, that's ours. You got to come up with your own. I like it. I like this one. Relationships. So this is when someone has requested a donation from us, which used to happen about twice a week. It doesn't happen that much anymore, but it used to happen about twice a week. So we would be sending this letter out pretty regularly, and there would be this one or something we were declining, and I didn't include the declining one in this presentation. So, dear, whatever the name is, we are happy to help your organization with a donation for your silent auction. We would like to donate an in-studio family portrait session plus our artist sample. But first, let me tell you about our donation program. Relationships is the name of our financial assistance program, sponsored by Jim and Robin Landers of Landers Photography. Landers Photography has supported hundreds of organizations, including local schools, social organizations, and charities for over 20 years. Our relationships auction program provides a wonderful tool to help you raise funds in an easy and completely risk-free manner. Our portraits. Our goal is to tell the story of the family we're photographing through relationships, through emotion, and through interaction. The ultimate goal is for our clients to cry tears of joy every time they see their beautiful portrait proudly displayed on their wall. This very generous program provides valuable certificates from Landers Photography to be sold at big savings. The school or organization pays absolutely nothing for the certificates and keeps all of the proceeds. This program has proven beneficial to all concerned and a successful risk-free fundraiser for organizations in the community. Now, you guys have heard the rest of this. I'm just going to read it one more time just so you know. How can we afford to do this? We have enjoyed contributing to many schools and organizations in the area, and we have benefited from the new circle of friends that have come to us as a result. We will continue to support as long as we're financially able to do so. Our approach is very low-key. We simply provide beautiful, emotional portraiture, and people respond to it by ordering additional portraits. That's how we can afford to give back to the community in this way. Thank you for including us in your fundraising efforts. And then I sign it right there. That's funny. So, do you guys do you guys have any thoughts on what you have done? Now, I know a little while ago that Paula mentioned that she gives and volunteers to the Kendall County Women's Shelter. I'd like to hear that. Hear what you guys have done. Are there any who? Jeremiah mentioned also that he donated to veterans for their LinkedIn profile. That's a fantastic one as well. So, do you guys have some additional ones that you have done, either you're currently doing, you've done in the past, or you're going to be working on in the future? Share with me in the comments right now the things that you're doing, the things that you want to do, and tell me that this is something you've done already, that you're currently doing, or that you want to do. Give me the category of this where this is currently. What kind of things that you have done or you would like to be doing. And I'm looking in the comments. I bet you're typing right now. I probably should keep on going, describing. And so the goal is to just talk and to visit, to brainstorm. My goal is to have 12. You can have whatever your number you want to. It could be 5, it could be 3, it could be 1. It could be 15. I would say don't go too high, though, because it is overwhelming. It does take up too much of your time. But our magic number is 12. And we do get business from this. It may not be a lot. It may be a small amount, but we do get business from this. Good question. Courtney just asked a question about, do you find anyone gets upset when they pay this high dollar amount and only get a 5x7 product? So let me tell you about the amount that they're paying and what it is that they're getting. First, that's a silent auction, so therefore there's times when people don't even call it; they just did it as a donation to the organization, and so they have different reasons for giving that donation to the organization. But has anyone ever? I'm going to answer your question, Courtney. Has anyone ever gotten upset? Not one. Not anyone has ever gotten upset. But let's say how I would respond if they did. And I'm grateful that hasn't occurred yet. But let's just go with the spirit of your question, Courtney. And I'll answer. Let me think about it for a moment. But if someone did get upset about it, they feel that they've paid $200, $300, $400, or however much. Now they can, with a silent auction, someone can make whatever donation amount they want. And you guys have probably seen this before. If it's a physical in person, it's a sheet of paper and someone writes their name and the amount that they're donating. And then it just goes down the list. And you may have several people and they keep outbidding each other. And it's quite possible that they spend more than the value of the certificate, what it is that I'm giving. And so that does happen every once in a while. Usually it's less or right about the same amount. But sometimes it does go over, and I know the reason why they're doing that is because they know that it's going to a good cause. And so if someone were to get upset about it, it would, I just can't imagine that occurring. So that's why I'm having trouble answering that question. But I would tell them, was this donation, do you feel like you made this donation for that organization? And do you feel they're going to use it well? And if they say yes, and I say, well, then your goal has been covered because I didn't get any of that. I'm giving you my time, and I'm giving you my favorite image, and I'm going to artwork it and print it for you and give it to you as a gift. And so your amount you gave was to that organization. What I'm giving is to you because I want to thank you for giving to that organization. So that's how I'd respond, Courtney. I appreciate you answering that question. And I appreciate your response of great. All right. So, okay, Jeremiah, that's a good one. Animal shelters, help get them adopted. There are several people who do this. I haven't done it myself. Well, I've done it once for a place that was in the northeast side of San Antonio, and it was okay. Yeah, it went well. Oh,
Hey everybody,
hey, Amanda.
Hey, I wanted to give some examples of what we do at Digital Pro Lab. So, to speak at your point, Jim, I know you said to limit the amount of organizations that you actually give to, and Digital Pro Lab, we definitely do that. Over the years, we've given a lot, but over the last probably 3 or 4, we've seen the need to actually focus on building the relationships with the charities that we've partnered with, because at the end of the day, they are partners. We really want to partner with them to lift them up so that they know that when there are different types of needs throughout the year versus one event per year, like a silent auction, we want to build that relationship so that we can help them as much as we are able to. And I'm going to just tell you 3 of the organizations that we at Digital Pro Lab support and some of the different ways that we help them. So one is Southwest School of Art. They are one of the only, if not the only, school here in San Antonio that actually has a dark room that the community, San Antonio community, can actually go rent time and actually utilize. And we like to support them because we believe in printing. We want to support that way, that method of creating photographs, and we want to continue to encourage the next generation and those that are interested, like the photographers that we work with on a daily basis, to go and learn how to do darkroom printing so they have a deeper understanding and appreciation for that type of print method. So we definitely do monetary donations to them, which we allocate within our budgets to provide them donations. We also do print services. We do in-kind contributions to them. So sometimes we may not have the financial ability to do something. However, we can provide them marketing materials, because obviously we do printing and we have ready access to printed materials that we can provide them. We also have done fundraising efforts for them. So we may do a cross-promotional fundraising event for them that the proceeds will go to them, but it actually may be a shootabout or something like that we encourage our photographers to come out to enjoy the photography community and an actual participatory type of thing. And then from there, all those proceeds, say it's a $20 event cost, that $20 will go towards Southwest School of Art. So there's a lot of ways to do that. What a lot of y'all might not know is a few years back, I actually spent 3 years away from Digital Pro Lab and worked in the development department at Catholic Charities here in San Antonio. So I actually have a lot of experience working on the other side of fundraising. So I know on that side, the importance of building a relationship. Not everybody can give an actual monetary amount of money, be it a business or an individual donor, but building that relationship and actually speaking one-on-one with a company or an individual, you can see that a person is not just defined by the amount of money that they give, but they may have relationships that they can help to cultivate for you. So that you can actually gain a little bit more from the nonprofit side. Maybe I didn't know the head of a certain bank that might have the financial ability to donate. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually create that relationship, create connections, and create opportunity to help in these different charitable giving ways. Some of the other nonprofits that we work with, one is Lightcatcher Society here in San Antonio. And then another one is Musical Bridges around the world. They help to provide musical opportunities here for our different areas of San Antonio that might need it more than others. So that's what we do at Digital Pro Lab as far as our charitable giving. So I want you to know it's very important, because it's something that I think we always forget when you support a local business like Digital Pro Lab. Our efforts go back into our local community. So keep that in mind. And hopefully you'll know that when you give and purchase prints through us, that those go to help some of the nonprofits here in San Antonio.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for adding that, Amanda. This is there's so many different ways that we can give back. Amanda's just mentioned several of them. It's not, of course, limited to the ones that we're mentioning here. You guys are creatives. You can come up with all kinds of fantastic stuff. Maybe something that you've never even heard of before. Maybe something that's never been done before. You're a creative. Make it happen. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. So, yeah, thank you guys. I'm still watching those comments. I want to encourage you guys once again to ask questions and give comments, and we'll put them up on the screen as appropriate. Some of you, I know sometimes the posts are directly to me or something specific, but if they're general, I'm going to post them up here. And feel free to give a like or give a love. We appreciate that. We like seeing it. So back to what is it that I'm giving to them once I have this agreement. I read those letters to you. One was the agreement, or the letter where I am reaching out to those who are in my target market. And then one where I am responding, and this is one where I'm responding positively. Yes, I want to participate in that way. What is it that happens next? Well, I'll show you. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm using as my next step. And that's not the one I want to show you next. These got out of order, I guess. There we go. All right, let me share that one with you. All right, so this is one of the certificates, and the certificates are what you see here is just white as a background. I print these. You can print these through Digital Pro Lab. If you have your own printer at home, maybe that's how you want to do it. But you want this to be kind of nice, and so that's why I would recommend a printer who can do this right for you. And Digital Pro Lab is definitely going to do it right for you. So Digital Pro Lab. So here's what I use: language photography, relationships. The name of this entity that I have for giving, and this one is in particular is a family portrait certificate, and this can be anything. This was something that we gave to the Northside School Museum a couple of years ago. And this was an in-studio family portrait session with one 5x7 artist sample in a classic black folio at in a $400 value. And I'm going to explain where that number comes from here in just a moment. But I tell them what it is that they're going to be receiving. So this is the name of what we're doing, what it is they get, specifically what did they get: an in-studio family portrait photography session. Now, what happens if they don't want in studio? What if they want an on location session? Then they can pay the difference. I'm giving something very specific. It'd be like if you had a coupon to HEB and it's for cucumbers, but you don't want cucumbers. You want lunch meat. Can you apply that cucumber coupon to the lunch meat? No, can't. But I am going to at least do something for you, even if that's not the thing that you want. I will just allow you to pay the difference. And my session fee for an on-location session is $400. That's just for me. That doesn't include anything. And so they would pay $295 is how much an in-studio session is, and so they pay $105. That's it, just to upgrade to the on-location session. But everything else is the same. They still get all the different steps that I take a portrait session through, a family through. They still get all of that. So here is what's on the back, the fine print: portrait certificate policies and terms of use. One certificate per family per year. Why would I limit them to one? What happens if they're at all the different charities, auctions, silent auctions, or anything that I go to? What happens if they get several of them every year? Well, they're not going to buy very much. I want to spread this out and let a lot of people know what it is that I'm doing. So one certificate per family per year. The certificate expires because I want them to actually take advantage of it. It expires 100 days from the date of the event. And instead of, I used to put dates on these, but it became a pain. So I just say 100 days from the date of the event, and I don't have to write dates anymore. Makes it easy. Certificate must be used by the winning bidder. Cannot be gifted or transferred to anyone else. The person who bids has to be the one who uses it. because they have the most value for it. Portrait sessions are only available during regular business hours. You'd think that would be something you wouldn't have to state. State it. Certificate is not valid until a completed winning bidder form, information form, is filled out and signed. I will be showing you the winning bidder information form here in just a little bit. This certificate is not transferable. It has no cash surrender value, nor is it refundable. I just want to make sure that none of that's ever happened. I just want to make sure it doesn't. The session is not for PR or business portraits. It is for families of any size, even if that's just 2. Landers Photography reserves and retains all artistic rights and copyrights, including those to and of reproduction, and for any images created. And that's just the U.S. copyright law of 1976. Simple as that. The certificate is not good for previously created images and cannot be combined with any other promotional offers. Copies or reproductions of the certificate are not valid and not acceptable. It has to be the original. The certificate value for 400 is for a 295 in-studio portrait session and a $105 5x7 artist sample. By the way, my price for a 5x7 is $150. But when I get to choose it, when I get to do it, it's for this specific purpose, then it's $105. The artist sample is something I created for this. It doesn't exist anywhere on my price list. It is simply for charity giving. If you want an outdoor or on location session, simply pay the difference. You heard me say that a little while ago. And they'd have to contact us for the details. They're going to have to contact us anyway. Landers Photography has permission to use any images created during this session for display, exhibition, and general advertising purposes. By the way, you have that right with the copyright law of 1976. That doesn't mean you shouldn't state it because they haven't read it. And it's quite likely you haven't either. Most photographers have not read the copyright law of 1976 because it is a long, boring read. It will put you to sleep. So I'm not saying you're a bad person if you haven't read it. I'm saying you probably started and fell asleep because it's just that boring. But that's in it. So at least that's our version of it. Use of portrait certificate indicates an acceptance of portrait certificate policies and terms of use. And I require they sign that and date it. What do you guys think of that? Any thoughts or additions to that? All right. Then I'm going to share with you the next thing I have to share. Make sure I have that up ready. This is a different way of sharing. What you saw, what was on the back of that before. I put that next. If I have an opportunity to share at a silent auction, you usually have space, and you can put up a photograph or something that photograph is going to be best, or a banner or something that shows what it is that people have the opportunity to buy. I make a little sign out of what that back was, and let's show you real quickly what that sign looks like. And I'm going to make it slightly smaller. There we go. All right. So I'll share that with you. So this is the portrait certificate guidelines and terms of use. This is the same thing I just read to you on the back of what we were talking about before. This is a small sign, probably 8.5 by 11, that sits on the display so that they know what they're getting into beforehand. I don't want them buying something and then realizing later this is not something they can use. I want them to use it. I absolutely want them to use it. And so this repeats, so 1 certificate per year. Certificate must be used by the winning bidder. Certificate is not valid until it's been signed. It expires in 100 days. It's not for press releases. It's not for business portraits. It's for family portraits. I want to make sure that they understand they can't transfer this to some other type of photography. It's got a very specific purpose. I have a very specific purpose. I want to sell more family portraits. I'm not looking for more headshots. Got enough of those. That's why it's specific to one type of photography. You guys make it whatever you want, but make it specific. Make it clear. This does go into a little bit more detail. It does say portrait sessions are only available Monday through Friday, excluding certain holiday periods. Limited Saturdays are available depending on the studio's event schedule. Landers Photography reserves and retains all artistic rights. The certificate is not transferable. There is no cash surrender value. It is not refundable. The certificate must be surrendered when it's used. And then it shows the amount, what it's for, what that $400 includes. And then same thing you saw before. Copies of reproductions aren't acceptable. You have to have this. Landers Photography has your permission to use any images created during this session for our purposes: display, exhibition, general advertising purposes. So I include that. That's just a little sign that I have next to my display. And this is at least a 5x7 size, this little sign, but it's usually an 8.5 by 11, regular sheet of paper. And that's at the display. And I definitely recommend that you have a good solid display and something that someone can take away. If they're interested in what it is that you're doing, but they're not going to be bidding, or they weren't the winning bidder, I still want to be able to let people know. And so on my display, I've got one main photograph and then a handout, something that they can take, they can grab with them, they can take away. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate you saying that. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are specific to the things that you're interested in, the things that you're doing. And so this was very specific to what I do with family portraits and with working with my specific target market. So there are definitely things that in what I did that you're going to want to tweak. You're going to want to make it your own. And finally, I have a winning bidder information form. I mentioned earlier that I was going to share the winning bidder information form. Once the silent auction is over, what happens then? Well, the problem before I found a solution was I didn't know who won. I had no clue. I had a difficult enough time getting my stuff back. And so, you know, sometimes I'm there at the charity event, sometimes I'm not. And if I'm not, how do I get my stuff back? My display, my photographs, the things I had on the table, that sign that shows my terms and conditions, my policies. How do I get all that back? So that's something I talk to them ahead of time. It's all planned out. It's very easy. But there is one thing that I request, and that is a winning bidder information form. Let's take you to the top of that. So it's got my logo. Now this, where you see in the brackets, I have filled that out with whatever it is that I have donated. So I put that in that space there. It won't say donated item or service. It will say whatever the donated item or service is. Then winning bidder information form. And I asked them to please print legibly. There's been times where I could not read the phone number or could not read the email. And so I had to go back to the charity to say, do you know who this is? Can you read this? Do you have them on your books? So please complete the following information return to the event organizers today. Certificate 1 has no value until we receive this completed form. We use contact information collected to provide you information about your certificate. So I'm giving them a reason why they would do this. We do not sell or use contact information for other advertising or mailing lists. Now, again, in the bracket, I put in the name of their event and the date of their event. And then they fill out, the individual winner fills out their name, their contact information, including mailing address, email address, day phone number, evening phone number. You could just put cell phone because that's going to be the easiest way to reach them. And the amount of their winning bid. I'm kind of curious as to what it was they paid for it. They don't have to fill that part out. I definitely need to know their name and how to get a hold of them, though. And then I go into what you saw on the back of that certificate. By submitting this form to Landers Photography, there's no why there. Now there is. You are committing that you, the winning bidder, accept the certificate guidelines and terms of use. Then the signature of the winning bidder. And this is given back to the organization who gives it to me when I'm picking up my display, my stuff. So these are the steps that I'm going through when I am working with a charity. Now, that isn't the only thing we do. You heard Amanda just a little while ago mention several different types and different ways that she gives. I did, because of the time that we have, go specifically into one, silent auctions. There's a ton of different things that you can choose to do. We've done percentage, like we worked with Warm Springs doing Santa pictures quite a few years ago. I think it's 2005, where they did a lot of marketing for us. They brought people in, but we photographed Santa and we gave them a percentage of sales in exchange for the marketing that they did for us. They even got us on a TV spot. So it's kind of cool. And the amount that we donated to them back in 2005 was about $7,500, if I remember correctly. And so that was just their percentage. And we've done that in other situations as well. We just give them a cut of what it is, because they are doing something for us. They are bringing people in, they are doing marketing. And so they are making that job easier for us. And I do recommend doing that kind of thing. Whenever you're choosing to do, let's say, a mini session or a special event, I definitely recommend working with some other entity, some other organization. That way you're leveraging their list, the people that they work with. And so now you're doubling up. You've got the list that you have done, that you have, that your email list that you can reach out to. You've got the people on your Facebook, people on your Instagram that you can reach out to. But when you're working with another organization, you get to leverage their list too. So work with other organizations. It causes you to become known. It causes more people to come to you. If you're trying to do it alone, have you ever put together a mini session and gotten no responses? That's a lot of work. But if you partner with some organization that's aligned to your values, that's the target market that you want to work with, man, your sales will soar. And you benefit the people, the group that you appreciate, that you want to help out. So I highly recommend using this as a tool, a marketing tool. So if you have, some of you have commented about who you would work with or who you'd like to work with. And I'm thinking more on the general side of things. What organizations, what types of organizations, not necessarily specific organizations, but what types of organizations are you thinking about right now? Jeremiah mentioned animal shelters. What kind of organizations are you guys thinking about? Who would you work with? Who would you like to work with? Paula mentioned a women's shelter. Who else is thinking about this, working with different organizations? I'm looking back through the comments right now. That may be the only two that have commented on that so far. Yeah. All right. So there's a bunch of different types out there. And I definitely recommend, again, that you have an organized plan for giving in whatever way you feel is appropriate. What would you like to do? What would be ideal? Have you been to a silent auction before? Have you been to a charity fundraiser before? What was cool about that event? What did you identify with? Was there some individual that you thought that would be cool? I would love to be able to do that myself. Think about things like that, because you can make those things happen. if you've got a plan. Any other thoughts about that? Let me make sure I covered something. I want to give you guys some homework, but I want to go over real quickly. You can be reactive or you can be proactive. No matter what, there's going to be some reactive. But I recommend a plan and being proactive. Reactive, you can have that response letter that I mentioned earlier that you send out once someone has requested. But being proactive, list the charities that you like, organizations, groups, schools. Pay attention to those that attract volunteers and boards that are part of your target market. Write your announcement letter to let organizations know that you have something of value that you want to donate that's beneficial to them. It's a win-win situation. It's benefiting them and it's benefiting you. I want you to write a follow-up letter for when they accept and another follow-up letter for when they decline. So that's part of your homework assignment. Now, on the certificate, there are 9 necessary elements for the front and 9 necessary elements for the back. Let's go over those real quickly. I'm going to share this screen with you so you can follow along a little bit easier. This is the certificate, the thing that you're handing them. On the front, 9 necessary elements. 1, your business name. 2, your donation. Number 3, the expiration date of the donation. And again, that's so that they act now, because it is so easy to put something off like this. Ours was 100 days. That's probably on the long end. I'd recommend something even shorter, 30, 45 days. Their organization name, that's the organization name of the group that you've donated to. The event name, if there is an event. There are times when these things are given and there's not an event associated with it, but generally there's an event associated with it. So their event name and their event date. Then your contact information. They need to be able to reach you. So your contact information. Information about how to use this certificate that they've just purchased. And then your live signature. Actually sign it yourself. That's the front 9. Sounds like I'm talking golf. Then the back 5. This is what goes on the back of the certificate. This is policies and terms of use. General information on usage of the certificate. A description of what the donation is. A statement that says that you might use their photograph for your own marketing. A place for them to sign. This is acknowledging your terms. And then your contact information. And yes, your contact information should go on both sides. Everybody turns things around. If you've gotten something as simple as a business card, haven't you turned it around to see what's back there? Yeah. It's okay to repeat some information. This is a good one to repeat. So those are the things you need on the front of the certificate and the things you need on the back. Real quick about the display. I kind of glossed over that one. Draw it out on a piece of paper or on a computer, but make a plan of what your display is going to look like. I'd say your display image needs to be at least 11 by 14. I do not like 11 by 14s. I don't even like 16 by 20s. I want it to be larger than that. I want to show what I want to sell. You sell what you show. I don't want to sell 11 by 14s. I want to sell 30 by 40s. So if they're giving me enough space to show a 30 by 40, guess what? I am showing that larger size. Now, I mentioned having information cards. This is something that someone can pick up and take while they're there. Those who aren't going to be donating or bidding, or those who are bidding but just want something to take with them, because only one person wins the bid. So I want information cards. This has a headline on both sides of the card, and definitely recommend Digital Pro Lab to do the printing for you. A headline on both sides. What is this piece of paper that they're picking up? It's a card, because it's not just a piece of paper. B, persuasive text that leads them to act now. Now, you've got to define what it is you want them to do, but be very clear on what it is you want them to do next. Next is a testimonial or review with every single image that you're including. And I'd say include several images, 2, 3, 4, 5 images, and include testimonials with every single image that you include on this information card. Then your guarantee, whatever your guarantee is. I'll tell you mine real quick, and you're welcome to use it. Some are a little scared to use it, but you're welcome to. My guarantee, I guarantee that you will be thrilled, not just satisfied, or I'll do whatever it takes to make you thrilled, or I'll give you your money back. That's my guarantee. The next thing that you need to have on there is the call to action. Now, I mentioned before, persuasive text that leads them to act now. What is it you want them to act now? What do you want them to do now? That is your call to action. Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Text? Scan this QR code? What is it you want them to do next? Be very clear on what's next. And then a deadline. Things happen when there is an end. Give it a deadline. So those are the things to consider. That's your homework. I want that. Yeah, that's right. I want that response. And I'd like to say your name because that's a good comment. But you have to give permission on the at the top of that post. You can click on the permission. It says StreamYard wants your permission in order to use your name and image. So you can do that if you'd like. But any other thoughts or questions on charity giving, on how this is a win-win before we conclude this episode of the Portrait Profit Show? If you have any, please post them on Facebook or YouTube right now. For those of you who are watching this as a recording, first of all, thank you for watching it. And feel free to comment even still, although it's not live. We do like to look back at those images. But if you those comments, but if you want to reach out to me directly, Jim at landersphotoschool.com. Again, my email is Jim at landersphotoschool.com. Jim at landersphotoschool.com. So now you've got that. And if you'd like to get on the Landers Photography School email list, where we tell you all the different things that are coming up to help you improve your photography business and photography in general, get on my email list by going to landersphotoschool.com/get-updates. Now, you could just go to landersphotoschool.com and click on the link up at the top right of the page. Either way, landersphotoschool.com/get-updates. And we'll send you a weekly email about what's coming up. I want to tell you about some upcoming episodes. We've got 2 more coming up this month. The next one is on August 23rd, and the topic is Be Found Everywhere. And that's one of the comments that I like the most. When I asked the question, and you guys asked this question too, how did you hear about us? Or how did you hear about me? If someone responds, I see you everywhere, then that tells me that my marketing is effective. I want to hear those words. Now, everywhere is everywhere my clients are, not everywhere, period. So this isn't something that's overwhelming. This is when you have done a great job of targeting your market and they see you everywhere that they are, where they're going, the places on the internet where they're going, the places physically where they're going. When they see you everywhere and they say, oh man, I just see you everywhere. Oh man, I'm doing my marketing right when I hear those words. I love those words. I'm going to tell you how I did that, how I made that happen. And it definitely starts off with you having a very specific target market. It can't be everyone with a pulse. You've got to be specific about it. That's the only way you're going to get comments like this. And it's the only way you're going to consistently get the people who you really, really want to work with. The people who uplift you, make you happy, make you energized, and pay you what you're worth. Now, I'm not saying they won't be complaining about your price. They might, but they'll complain about it much differently than you've heard complaints before. They'll say something like this: man, oh, that's a lot, but you're worth it. Here's my card. Yeah. That feels good to hear that. So are you going to still get complaints about pricing? Of course. People do that. That's kind of natural. But the complaints are compliments. I'm going to show you how. That's on Monday, August 23rd at noon. Put it on your calendar right now. Then the next week, August 30th at noon, don't seek the seekers. You know, if you were to go to other parts of Facebook right now, I know some of you are live watching Facebook right now, but you've seen this before, where someone says, I would like to have a portrait session, or I want to have my kids' session done, or I know of a family or a couple that needs to have a portrait session done. Look at the number of people who respond. Now, the people who respond are wonderful, amazing people. All of them. All of them. I love all you guys. But those who are seeking the seekers are red flags to me. And the reason I say that is because target market is not just the type of photography that you want to do. It's much more in depth than that. If someone is asking for the type of photography that you have the ability to press the shutter in front of, and every single time that happens, you pounce on it and you put your information there along with another 20, 30, 50, I think the most I've seen is 82 photographers who posted that they can do it too. Well, guys, out of that number of 82, how many are getting the job? One. You have a 1 in 82 chance. Now, if this is the lottery, that's pretty darn good. But this isn't the lottery. What are the odds you're getting that? Not that good. And besides, has this ever happened to you where they got a friend or family member saw that posting and said, well, I'll do it for you for free? Yeah. Guys, you need to stop seeking the seekers. Stop seeking them. It is too much effort for too little reward. Now, if you've got super low prices and you're not going to be able to stay in business, and when your camera dies, you aren't going to have enough money to replace it, okay, maybe that works for you. But that's not what I'm training people to do. I'm training people to be able to really do this well, to make a good income. When their camera does die, that they're able to replace it. But I think they're replacing it before that because the new camera that comes out they really want, the new lighting that comes out they really want. That's what I want to train you for. Don't seek the seekers. That's only a maximum of 1 to 5% of the entire population. I say go after the other 95%. Now you may say, well, they're not looking for a photographer, so why would I target people who aren't looking? Really? Yeah, at first I did the same thing. I sought the seekers. I was seeking the seekers. Yep. For a long time I did that. But then I realized if I do my marketing correctly, if I've got my target market very specific, then I no longer have to seek the seekers. And one more thing I want to point out. The seekers are looking for a deal. The other 95%, what it is that you're offering is what they want. So they're not looking at anyone else. So you have a 1-in-1 chance of getting the business. This is how I wound up doing it. And it wound up where I didn't have to do any marketing, advertising at all. I'm going to show you how. And you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to get a regular stream of qualified leads. Qualified meaning they are wanting what it is you're selling and they're willing to pay your price and do business your way. It's so much easier than seeking the seekers. And there's a whole lot more of them. So put it on your calendar, August 30th at noon. Don't seek the seekers. I'll show you how. August 30th. All right. Whew, man, we've covered a lot of stuff. And there's so much more stuff to cover, even on this one subject. But I want to share with you guys right now a special deal the Digital Pro Lab is giving to you guys. Right now at the bottom of the screen, I want you to notice that there is a 40% off 16 by 20 gallery wrapped canvas prints. I don't know if you guys have done gallery wrapped canvas prints, but they're cool. The majority of my families actually order gallery wrapped canvas. Fantastic deal. 40% off. Just use promo code GALLERY. And this is for the 1.5 inch bar. That's the thickness of that wrap. It's the wood that the canvas is covering. So it's 1.5 inches thick, and that's your image wraps around that. And so, man, this is cool. Take advantage of this. Digitalprolab.com. 40% off 16 by 20 gallery wrapped canvas prints. The 1.5 inch bar. Using promo code GALLERY. And this expires, just like I told you guys before, you need to have an expiration date. This has an expiration date. Expires on August 20th. August 20th. Take advantage of that. Write that down. Or come back to this and pause it then. But I'd say write it down. Gallery is the promo code for that 16 by 20 at 40% off for a gallery wrap canvas. Thank you, Digital Pro Lab, for making that happen. We definitely appreciate them and everything that they're doing. All right, one more announcement. You guys probably all know about the annual San Antonio Photography Tournament. It's a fun tournament. It's not meant to compare who's the best professional. In fact, a lot of times those who aren't professional are the ones who are winning. So the annual San Antonio Photography Tournament, go to saphotoevents.com for more information. But that is on October 17th. It's a Sunday. And it's an instant gratification photographers challenge where we give you a list of 15 different categories that you can participate in, one or all. You go out and you photograph it. If you get the list in the morning, you go out and you photograph it and you upload them. This is totally via Zoom. You upload them. We have judges who go through and judge them. And then you have to get them to us by noon, before noon. The judges begin at noon. And then about 2 o'clock, the judges are done, and we start announcing the winners in every single category. There's a first place, a second place, and an honorable mention in every single category. We announce those winners. We tell you what it is that you've won, because there's winners. The winners get stuff, lots of stuff. A lot of people donate things because we ask. And you also get a certificate. Each first, second, third gets a certificate. And then there's overall winners as well. So that is Sunday, October 17th. Go to saphotoevents.com for more information. And visit me at landersphotoschool.com. All right, guys. We have come to the end of another Portrait Profit show. And I want to thank you for spending your time with me here on a Monday afternoon. I know you've got lots and lots and lots of things that you need to be doing, but you've put this first. You've put yourself first. You've put uplifting the photography community first. And I want to tell you, I appreciate that. I want you to continue doing that. I want you to spread the word, let other people know that this is happening, that this is a good thing for the area. Not just San Antonio, but beyond. This is live streamed. This can be anywhere. Yes, the majority are going to be right here in San Antonio, but it is certainly not limited to this area. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers, bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun of the business side of photography. We provide helpful information, step-by-step processes, how-to articles, and action steps that will guide you through the struggles that you deal with now, so that you are constantly realigned to the path that leads you to the success you deserve. Thank you guys for being here for the Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye for now.